a small blue dot in the cosmos, quiet, peaceful, and completely unprepared. That changed the day. A galactic vote ended with the words, "You are now officially part of the Galactic Confederation." The announcement echoed across 1,000 alien chambers, and after a moment of silence, chaos. Bickering delegates, furious translations, one alien apparently trying to eat its own chair. Somewhere, someone fainted. Twice. Back on Earth, the United Nations watched it all unfold on a hovering projection screen. Polite claps, nervous murmurs. One diplomat whispered, "Did we just agree to something?" To calm the interstellar panic, a compromise was made. Earth would send a delegation, a welcome committee to greet new alien species on behalf of the planet, an opportunity to prove that humans were capable of grace, tact, and interstellar etiquette. Instead, they sent these four. "Hi, I'm Chloe. I used to run onboarding at a software company, but now I represent humanity. Isn't that amazing? I brought cupcakes." Chloe, bright, eager, and armed with a laminated welcome packet, color-coded and sparkly. "Yo, it's your boy Trevor. Live streams up, followers climbing. Intergalactic shout-out to my Terran peeps." Trevor, a professional gamer and influencer, constantly recording, often shirtless, never focused. "They chose me because I know things. Area 51? That was just a decoy. Real base is under the Denver airport. Wake up, sheeple." Ronnie, conspiracy theorist, self-proclaimed truth hunter, wears a tinfoil hat, unironically, and a llama. Pause, the llama doesn't speak, but it does have a sash that says emotional support Earthling. "I've commanded war fleets across nebulae. I once negotiated peace between slug people and sentient moss, but now I'm babysitting a llama." Captain Zix Nagger, decorated Galactic Navy officer, assigned to Earth, against his will. Again. "Protocol requires I remain neutral. Personally, I give Earth 6 weeks before it sparks an accidental war. But there's no time for training, no room for errors. Their first diplomatic assignment has arrived. A message appears, formal, stern. To Captain Zix and the human delegation, you are scheduled to welcome the Glorpanian emissaries within the hour. Be advised, Glorpanians communicate exclusively through synchronized interpretive dance. Verbal speech is considered deeply offensive. Dance? Oh my gosh, this is perfect. I once took Zumba at a retirement home. I was voted most enthusiastic. Exactly what I've been warning you all about. Interstellar TikTokers. This is how they hypnotize our youth. I've got a dance filter on standby and a remix of the Jurassic Park theme. We're going viral. Wonderful. You'll either make history or cause a diplomatic incident that triggers planetary sanctions. As the team prepares for their debut, Zix pulls aside his personal log device and mutters into it quietly. Log entry. The humans are, in every measurable sense, not ready. They are chaotic, distractible, allergic to planning, but there's something else. A pause. They adapt. They improvise. They confuse the logic out of anyone who tries to reason with them. Somehow, that might be their greatest weapon. The wormhole opens. The dance floor awaits, and the galaxy holds its breath to see if Earth's first official step is a misstep. But unseen by the delegation, someone is watching, hidden, recording, waiting. A shadow in the stars whispers, "So, Earth has joined the game. Let's see what they break first." And with that, the story begins. The docking bay was cleared. Walls shimmered with holographic murals depicting centuries of Glorpanian dance diplomacy. Spotlights gleamed. A faint mist rolled in. Automated, of course. Glorpanians took first impressions very seriously. On the viewing balcony above, dozens of alien ambassadors leaned forward in anticipation, and in the middle of the polished floor, Earth's finest flailed in formation. 5, 6, 7. Wait, Chloe, that's your other left. I know, but I'm trying to stay upbeat. My leg just did something weird. Chloe's smile wavered as she winced and collapsed mid-grapevine twist. Her clipboard clattered dramatically. Cupcake-related injury, she gasped. Possibly hamstring. We're cooked, muttered Captain Zix, arms crossed, already mentally preparing a written apology to the Glorpanians, the Galactic Council, and possibly the concept of rhythm itself. Ronnie was spinning in slow motion, eyes wide, arms raised like antennae. This is what I saw in my dream. The ancient dance of the quasar owls. They warned me this would happen. No, Ronnie, that's just flailing, muttered Trevor. This is the real move. He spun once, kicked high, slid low, then struck a pose with both fingers pointed skyward. The motion-sensitive lights flickered as if offended. Zix's translator pinged urgently. Alert! You have just mimicked a Glorpanian battle challenge known as Split the Sky and Smite the Ankle. Immediate correction advised. Trevor blinked. Wait, that was a war dance? I was going for a Fortnite emote remix. Wonderful. You've declared ankle-based combat on a civilization of six-legged gelatin squid people. Well done, humanity. From the far end of the chamber, a gentle musical tone signaled the Glorpanian arrival. The massive entrance doors slid open with reverence. A procession of Glorpanians oozed gracefully into the room, translucent bodies shimmering like oil on water, each pulsing in perfect synchronized waves. One stepped forward, their head unfurled like a blooming sea anemone. Their jelly-like limbs lifted delicately. The dance began. Swirls, pauses, a sudden spin, a gesture that somehow looked like gratitude, joy, and mild indigestion all at once. Chloe whispered, Okay, we've got this. We just need to mirror the movements. Zix replied without turning. Number you need to not insult them further. I'll handle this. He stepped forward, tugging sharply on his formal uniform, adjusted his medals, and sighed. Then he moonwalked, smooth, fluid, perfectly in rhythm with the Glorpanians. He turned, twisted, popped a shoulder, glided across the floor in sync with the jelly diplomats. Every movement translated precisely. Peace, respect, regret for prior missteps. Please ignore the shirtless human with the ring light. The Glorpanians halted. A ripple passed through their group. One by one, they raised their flippers, tentacles, and mirrored the moonwalk. Zix took a breath, bowed deeply. The lead Glorpanian bowed back. Diplomatic incident averted. Chloe clapped wildly. Zix, that was amazing. You saved the mission. Trevor recorded the entire thing. Dude, I'm uploading this as Alien Moonwalk Face-Off, no cap. Already trending. Ronnie simply nodded. The Quasar Owls approve. Zix turned slowly. If any of you attempt to freestyle again, I will personally request a mind wipe of this species' memory of Earth. The Glorpanians began handing over gifts, crystalline spheres containing something that smelled faintly of old cinnamon and echoed compliments in 17 languages. Chloe limped forward with a smile. So, does this mean we passed? One of the Glorpanians emitted a melodic burble. The translator chirped, acceptable, confusing, surprisingly graceful in crisis, much like the mating dance of the fungus frogs. Trevor gave a thumbs up. That's a win in my book. But far above the viewing platform, behind a shimmer field cloaked from sight, the mysterious observer from before watched the feed. Interesting, the voice muttered. Earth survives round one. Let's see how they handle the carnivorous choir. And so, with pulled hamstrings, bruised pride, and a barely salvaged diplomatic scorecard, Earth's Welcome Committee prepares for their next test. And this time, it sings. The star cruiser gently drifted into orbit around Uzurian 7, a planet so moist it looked like someone had spilled a smoothie across a gas giant. The clouds sparkled with digestive enzymes. The atmosphere had the pleasant but concerning scent of old fruit salad and something vaguely acidic. Inside the diplomatic shuttle, tension thickened. So, the entire species is made of jelly, Chloe said, clutching a briefing tablet like it was holy scripture. They don't chew, they don't taste, they just absorb things through their skin. Trevor poked at his own cheek. So what happens if we eat in front of them? Like chew and stuff? Zix didn't look up. That's considered obscene. Like licking your elbow in public while screaming nursery rhymes at a funeral? Only worse. Ronnie blinked slowly. I have seen this in my dreams. Trevor groaned. Please don't start again. I'm serious. The jellies told me. Through my toaster. They warned me about the ceremony of slurp. Chloe cleared her throat. Okay, team. This is a critical dinner engagement. We show we can adapt to other species' customs. We wear the gelatin suits. We bring the fusion cuisine. We do not disintegrate. Trevor lifted a lime green suit from a hanger. You sure this isn't a prank? I feel like I'm about to audition for Dancing with the Goo. The shuttle doors hissed open. A warm, squishy scent enveloped them as they stepped into the digester's grand dining atrium. The Uzuri delegation waited. 12 undulating mounds of sentient goo, each seated in shallow puddles of nutrient-rich broth. Their skins shimmered with swirls of colors like marbled glass. 2 of them waved with stubby pseudopods. Chloe bowed carefully because the gelatin suit shifted oddly. Honored Uzari, friends. Earth is delighted to be squishy with you. Trevor set down the tray of fusion cuisine. The chef had tried to mimic interstellar texture expectations. Blended seaweed flan, tempura slime pancakes, and one suspiciously giggling gelatin orb labeled ambiguous delight. Zix's eyes narrowed. Please don't jiggle the orb. Ronnie ignored him. Do we dive in? Is that rude or a compliment? The lead Uzari extended a shimmering tendril toward Trevor's suit and gently tapped it. Instantly, the lower third of Trevor's chair began to bubble. Guys, he said, shifting. Is the floor supposed to melt? Chloe gasped. The fusion tray. It's leaking into the chair's alloy. Ronnie stepped back. Too fast. His foot slid. He landed face first into the nutrient puddle of an Uzari elder. There was a long, gelatinous pause. Then, bubbling. The translator blinked. Statement. This flavor combination is unconventional. Suggest future caution, Zix muttered. That means you just shoved a conspiracy theorist into our grandmother's soup. One Uzari began to tremble. Another turned orange, a known sign of diplomatic distress. Zix sighed. Of course. He stepped forward, pulling from his satchel a carefully prepared gift, a small, softly pulsing orb of jelly. Not food, not art. A translator medium, crafted from the same protein, strands the Uzuri used to communicate long distance. He held it high, then gently pressed it against the floor. The jelly expanded and began to shimmer with encoded motion, an apology rendered not in words but in rhythm and ripples. The digesters paused. Then one by one they rippled in reply. Slowly the lead Uzari absorbed the message jelly into their core and turned a peaceful shade of lavender. The translator beeped. Apology accepted. Earth is delightfully chaotic, like a falling dessert. We are intrigued. Trevor straightened what was left of his now half-melted chair. So, we're not banned from dinner parties? Chloe beamed. We might have invented slapstick diplomacy. Ronnie sat cross-legged on the floor, still damp. The jelly forgives, but it never forgets. Zix ran a hand over his face. Just once, I'd like to leave a planet without a formal cleanup protocol being filed. But above them, far beyond the atmosphere, that same observer reviewed the incident log. 2 missions, 2 minor disasters averted. Earth's chaos may be an asset or a weapon. Next up, the choir. The transmission closed. Back on the shuttle, Chloe turned to Zix. What's next? Zix sighed. The carnivorous choir of Do-Re-Mi. They sing in harmony and occasionally eat guests off-key. Ronnie grinned. I brought a ukulele. The shuttle descended gently into the prickly serenity of Quillith Prime, a world so orderly and peaceful it felt suspicious. From orbit, the cities appeared like woven baskets, coiled with living vines and thorns. Every structure curved with impossible precision, like nature and geometry had struck a polite truce. Chloe stared out the viewport. Reminder, 0 physical contact, not even a high five. The Quillithians consider touch sacred, shared only between a bonded life pairs or during religious exfoliation. Trevor raised a brow. What is religious exfoliation? Trust me, Zix grunted, checking his diplomatic dossier. You don't want to know. Ronnie leaned back, arms crossed, looking unusually focused. This is all very convenient. A planet covered in spikes, a no-touching policy. It's classic behavioral control. Quilithians are probably telepathic overlords keeping their people isolated. Chloe sighed. Ronnie, please don't try to mind meld with anyone. Or anything. I'm not going to mind meld, Ronnie said with exaggerated patience. I'm going to liberate them with emotional connectivity. Through hugs. Zix didn't look up from his file. If you hug anyone, I swear on the captaincy of 4 warships, I will personally feed you to the shrub ambassador. The shuttle doors opened into a sun-dappled courtyard. Rows of tall, regal Quilithians stood in ceremonial stillness, each wearing woven robes and glinting thorny headdresses. They resembled upright porcupines with poise and dignity, their quills gleaming in the light. The lead figure stepped forward, inclining its head just slightly. Welcome, beings of Earth. May your movements be harmonious and your shadows brief. Chloe bowed. Thank you for having us. We come in peace, and ideally with no puncture wounds. Ronnie muttered, classic cult greeting. Trevor stepped on his foot. Hard. The ceremony began, an elegant procession of mutual observation. No words, no movement, just gentle nods and intricate tail quill patterns expressing status, intention, and mood. The Earth team stood motionless, mostly, until Ronnie whispered, I'm doing it. I feel their emotional repression. They need human warmth. Zix's eyes widened. Don't! But it was too late. Ronnie stepped forward with arms wide. Your spikes can't hide your souls. Receive the hug of liberation. The Quilithian priest's eyes flared a deep crimson. Ronnie wrapped his arms around its shoulders with enthusiastic innocence, and instantly froze, impaled on 3 ceremonial spine clusters. There was a collective gasp. The priest shuddered and stumbled backward, quills trembling in silent alarm. Trevor face-palmed. Why are we like this? Chloe whispered. Can we file for diplomatic amnesia? The ceremonial guards raised their staffs. Dozens of sentient hedges emerged from the garden walls. Yes, literal walking, rustling, leaf-covered hedges, shuffling forward to form a tribunal ring. One hedge stepped forward, its leafy face unreadable. Violation of sacred boundaries. The accused must face judgment through truth or dare. Trevor blinked. What is this? Space kindergarten? No, Zix said flatly. It's worse. They were led into a courtyard lit by bioluminescent fireflowers. The sentient hedges surrounded them, rustling with authority. Truth, said the lead hedge, or dare. Ronnie, still wincing from multiple punctures, muttered, Truth. Reveal your deepest belief about alien civilizations. Ronnie straightened. All of you are hiding ancient vending machines that control your minds. Silence. Then, rustling. Chloe panicked. Dare! I choose dare! The hedge spun a leafy tendril. You must perform a verbal poem in praise of the sacred prickle while balancing this ceremonial cactus on your head. She grimaced, lifted the cactus, and began, O prickle divine with quills so fine, your lack of hugs is a boundary line. But truly I must now confess, your spikes give me mild butt distress. The hedges rustled in what might have been polite applause. Trevor leaned toward Zix. So, how do we win? We don't, Zix muttered. We endure until they get bored. Eventually the tribunal ended. The Quilithian priest stepped forward, bandaged lightly in aloe gel. Despite the chaos, your species has demonstrated resilience, and a surprising gift for improv poetry. We accept your apology. Chloe exhaled. Thank the stars. Zix glanced sideways. We're not done. Next stop, Yumari Delta, the Galactic Choir. Trevor groaned. The one that eats people if you sing off key? Zix nodded. Hope you've warmed up your vocal cords. Ronnie winced, still holding aloe to his ribs. Can I play the spoons? The space station orbiting Yumari Delta glittered like a disco ball, with delusions of grandeur. Every surface shimmered, pulsed, or rotated unnecessarily. From the docking ring to the central performance dome, It screamed one thing. You are now entering the galaxy's largest televised diplomatic talent competition. Welcome, read the massive hollow banner, to the annual summit of harmonic civilizations. Chloe adjusted her blazer. So this is it. The galaxy's greatest interspecies goodwill gathering, judged entirely by performance art. Trevor sighed, hauling in a crate labeled Earth Props, Fragile and Unculturable. I can't believe diplomacy comes down to talent shows. Zix muttered under his breath. You'd be amazed how many wars start over interpretive flute solos. Ronnie looked around, impressed. I like it. Lights, drama, space bureaucracy wrapped in sequins. My kind of place. Behind them, the llama, unofficially named Sir Fluffington, spit dramatically onto a red carpet. A booming voice echoed over the station intercom. Delegates, prepare to showcase your species' soul. The team was escorted to the preparation bay, where dozens of alien contestants rehearsed. One aquatic ambassador practiced somersaults in an anti-gravity tank. A crystalline jelly being emitted haunting tones by vibrating its limbs like tuning forks. The air shimmered with raw anxiety and fluorescent stage lighting. Chloe looked at the schedule. We're slotted in segment 3 just before the Kluger bone dance. Ronnie nodded. Good. I've prepared an exposé on the ancient rhythms of planet Earth. Trevor raised a brow. You're not going to do the worm again, are you? Number better. Trevor frowned. That's what I'm afraid of. But the real problem wasn't Ronnie. It was Kyle. Kyle the gamer, who had quietly disappeared into the wings with a headset and a portable streaming rig. While everyone else panicked about cultural protocol, he'd gone live. Yo, what's up, Galaxy? Kyle here, bringing you a first-ever cosmic karaoke crossover. Let's go! His voice echoed into the performance dome, synced to an auto-tuned remix of Britney Spears and space whale noises. The crowd froze. The aquatic ambassador screamed. The jelly being collapsed into itself. Dozens of alien delegates began chittering, clicking, or vibrating in protest. Zix bolted from the bench. He's singing in sonic dialect. That combo means aggressive reproductive challenge to half these species. Chloe gasped. He just insulted 50 planets and proposed to 3 others. Violently. Trevor facepalmed. Of course, Earth's first interstellar musical impression is dubstep Britney with attitude. The security drones descended like angry flamingos. Lights flickered red. An emergency gong reverberated across the dome. Zix leapt onto the stage. Kyle, shut it down. Unplug the rig. Kyle blinked, still singing. Huh? Zix tackled him mid-riff. The music cut. The silence was louder than the bass drop. A booming voice rang out. Earth has issued a combat serenade. According to the harmonic accords, retaliation must be musical. The floor opened. A 4-eyed, gold-scaled creature floated up, holding an ocarina made of bone and a drum set on its back. The Flumar tribe accepts your challenge. Chloe looked at Zix. Fix this. Fix this now. Zix grimaced. There's only one thing the galaxy respects more than battle ballads, novelty acts. His eyes turned to the llama. Sir Fluffington blinked. Moments later, Earth's emergency performance began. The lights dimmed. A spotlight hit the llama, now in a glitter cape, standing majestically on a hover pedestal. Kyle, Trevor, Chloe, and Ronnie stood behind him in awkward formation. Zix stepped forward and clapped rhythmically. The llama spat once. Then, it danced. Perfectly. A rhythmic cha-cha with hoof flourishes, a synchronized tail flick, a midair spin that somehow invoked both peace and confusion. The rest of the team followed with what could only be described as interpretive barn rave. The crowd watched, stunned. Then, laughter. Genuine, rolling, galactic laughter. The Flumar leader lowered its ocarina and clapped. Earth is ridiculous, it declared, but brave. We accept your disco llama gesture. Cheers erupted. Backstage, Zix slumped into a chair, breathing hard. That llama, he said, just saved interstellar diplomacy. Ronnie nodded. Told you, Fluffington's been waiting for his big moment. Trevor looked around. Where's Kyle? Kyle waved from the side, already back on stream. We just peaked at 40 million viewers. Intergalactic viral status achieved, Chloe groaned. We're going to be famous for a breakdancing llama in interspecies karaoke aggression, Zix grunted. And we still have 5 more assignments. Ronnie stretched. What's next? Zix checked the briefing pad. An underwater mind meld interview with a psychic kelp cluster. Trevor muttered, I miss the hedges. The Welcome Committee floated through the luminescent corridors of the Trelvax Nexus, a space station designed entirely by romantic species. Every hallway glowed soft pink. Flowers bloomed from gravity-defying planters. Sentient violin vines coiled along the walls, twitching as if waiting for the perfect moment to strum. Why does it smell like cinnamon hearts and space pheromones? Trevor whispered, eyeing a floating heart-shaped mist cloud suspiciously. Chloe didn't answer. Her eyes were locked across the room. There, sipping from a gravity-repellent chalice and radiating literary angst, was Grolnith, a 6-eyed, bioluminescent alien poet from the planet Eartha. His pheromone trails danced in the air, spelling out verses in his native tongue. Chloe, the HR manager turned accidental galactic envoy, was utterly enraptured. He's beautiful, she murmured. Trevor groaned. He looks like a jellyfish having a midlife crisis. I heard that, Grolnith said politely, his third and sixth eyes narrowing. Zix stepped in, glancing between Chloe and the poet. Let's remember we're guests here. And according to Intergalactic Accord 17b, romantic entanglements during diplomatic missions are, he paused, checking his tablet, technically forbidden unless formally sanctioned by 3 neutral planets and a love tribunal. Chloe beamed. Good thing we're just friends, who happen to walk in slow motion under bioluminescent moonlight, and recite multilingual sonnets, and touch minds occasionally. Trevor muttered, that's what we call dating back on Earth. Meanwhile, in the corner of the room, Ronnie stared at a blinking device he'd duct-taped to a space broom. Guys, he whispered, I've been thinking. What if this whole thing isn't real? Zix didn't look up. We're on a sentient romance station orbiting a binary star while an HR manager flirts with a bioluminescent poet. Of course it isn't real, but it's happening. No, Ronnie said, gripping the broom harder. I mean everything. Earth, United States, the Welcome Committee. What if we're part of a simulation? Zix's eyes narrowed. You are not going to hack the station again. I'm not hacking, Ronnie said. I'm probing reality for structural inconsistencies. You're holding a mop with an antenna, Trevor noted. Ronnie tapped a button. Alarms exploded. Lights shifted from romantic glow to aggressive red. A huge screen flashed in every corridor of the Nexus. Emergency broadcast, level 9. Diplomatic breach, emotional collapse detected. Everyone turned. The screen now showed Chloe sitting on a crystal bench, tearfully speaking into a translator pod. I just don't know if we can make this work across galaxies, she sobbed. Maybe love was never meant to orbit this far apart. Grolnith stood nearby, reciting mournful syllables that sounded like underwater bird calls. The translator rendered it as, even meteors part ways eventually, my gravity muse. Zix spun around. Why is this being broadcast? Ronnie looked sheepish. The mop might be connected to the diplomacy network. Chloe gasped. Wait, this is live? Across the galaxy, thousands of species watched in stunned silence. Diplomatic councils paused. Military fleets held fire. 2 warring planets immediately initiated peace talks, emotionally moved by the broadcasted breakup. Zix shoved the mop aside and yanked the emergency broadcast plug from the wall. The screen blinked off. Silence. Then a voice chimed over the intercom. Earth's emotional transparency is profound, said the head of the Romantic Relations Council. Rarely has a species shown such vulnerability, raw heartbreak, and public confusion. We are moved. Earth shall now be granted level 4 empathic status. Everyone blinked. Ronnie whispered, Did we just get rewarded for causing a fake emotional meltdown? Chloe sniffed, composing herself. That wasn't fake. Grolnith touched his translator gently. I shall remember you in 6 of my hearts, Chloe. The 7th is allergic to humans. Trevor shook his head. We've reached peak space soap opera. Zix rubbed his temples. We've got a meeting with the Galactic Infrastructure Commission next. No more poetry, no more heartbreak, no more mops. Ronnie raised a hand. Can I at least keep the antenna? No. The team shuffled out as Grolnith played a farewell song using his elbows and pheromones, and Chloe wiped a tear shaped like a tiny Saturn ring from her cheek. Outside, the stars blinked indifferently, and somewhere across the star, an entire planet began streaming Earth's love drama as a primetime soap opera. The Welcome Committee's ship descended through swirling lavender clouds onto the surface of Zorbilon Prime, a planet famed throughout the galaxy as the home of the Intergalactic Zoo, a sprawling habitat where countless species were displayed, studied, and adored. As the ramp hissed open, the crew stepped onto a platform beneath enormous glass domes, glowing softly in the planet's purple twilight. But instead of receiving diplomatic welcomes, the humans found themselves surrounded by curious stares and excited whispers. Before they could even introduce themselves, a booming voice echoed over loudspeakers. "Behold, citizens of Zorbulon! We present the newest exhibit, Rare Earth Creatures, Live and Interactive." Trevor blinked. "Wait, they think we're part of the zoo?" "Apparently," Zix muttered, scanning the crowd. Rows of alien species lined the viewing platforms, cameras flashing, children pressing noses against transparent barriers. Chloe's mouth dropped open as a Zorbulonian curator, tall and dressed in elaborate robes covered in shimmering scales, approached them. "Welcome, exotic visitors. Please follow us to your habitat. You will be our stars for the next solar cycle." Before anyone could protest, they were herded like livestock toward a massive enclosure filled with trees that changed colors every few minutes and a small sparkling river winding through it. The committee was gently but firmly ushered inside. The llama, fluffy and unaware of the chaos, immediately became a sensation. Flashing cameras circled it non-stop, and the crowd cooed at its fuzzy charm. "Llamas are apparently universal crowd pleasers," Trevor observed, laughing despite himself. Inside the enclosure, things weren't quite as fun. "We're zoo exhibits?" Chloe hissed, pacing nervously. "We can't stay here. We're diplomats, not display pieces." Ronnie was already poking the glass walls with his antenna-adorned mop, mumbling about breaking out of the matrix. Zix sighed and surveyed the crowd above. The zookeepers looked proud but cautious, clearly invested in keeping the humans contained. Any sudden moves might cause offense or worse, a security lockdown. "We have to get out without triggering an intergalactic incident," Zix said firmly. "No damage, no insults, no riots. Keep it calm." The team nodded, formulating a plan, but the crowd's excitement only grew. People started chanting, "Free the humans! Free the humans!" mostly in jest, but some voices sounded serious. Suddenly, Zix spotted an opportunity, a group of young zookeepers, sympathetic and clearly fans of Earth culture. He slipped out of the enclosure and began a whispered negotiation. Meanwhile, back inside, the chant grew louder. The llama, oblivious, pranced happily, stealing the spotlight. One zookeeper, an energetic being with 6 arms and a blue-striped face, approached the team cautiously. "We never meant to offend. You are honored guests. But this is tradition. You are celebrated, yes, but also confined." Zix stepped forward, clearing his throat. "We appreciate the honor, but freedom is a key diplomatic value for Earth. We can't be caged, not even symbolically." The crowd's chant morphed into a roar of support. The zookeepers looked alarmed. Zix glanced back, raised his voice, and addressed the crowd from inside the enclosure. "Friends of Zorbulon, we are honored to be your guests, but Earth teaches that respect means liberty. Let us show you our culture, not as exhibits, but as equals." The crowd cheered. The zookeepers hesitated, then nodded. Negotiations resumed, with Zix leading talks on interspecies, respect, and diplomatic protocol. Hours later, the enclosure's gates were open. The Welcome Committee stepped out to applause, not as prisoners, but as honored visitors. Chloe smiled at the llama, now crowned with a garland of glowing flowers. "Looks like you're the biggest star after all," she laughed. Zix grinned, "and we learned a valuable lesson. Even in a galaxy of wonders, freedom is the language everyone understands." As the team boarded their ship, the crowd waved, chanting, "Free the humans, free the humans." Zix shook his head with a smile. Let's hope the next planet isn't a petting zoo. The Welcome Committee's ship shimmered through a nearby wormhole, emerging into the dazzling starfield surrounding the majestic planet Virelia Prime. They'd been invited, no, summoned, to witness an event of galactic importance, the royal wedding of two rival empires. The invitation, glowing with ornate symbols, had called it a union of peace and prosperity. But as Zix and the team touched down on Virelia's glittering crystal steps, they quickly realized the real stakes were far more explosive. The bride and groom stood apart in lavish ceremonial robes, each radiating their empire's colors. Their eyes barely met. Around them, an entourage of armored warriors, dignitaries with cybernetic crowns, and suspicious advisors filled the grand hall. Trevor's eyes sparkled with excitement. This is better than any esports tournament. I'm betting Earth credits on the bride's side. 30,000. Chloe shot him a warning glance. Trevor, this isn't a game. These empires are centuries-old enemies. But Trevor was already pulling out a holographic betting app, swiping furiously. The ceremony began with ornate rituals involving glowing glyphs, floating crystals, and an intimidating symphony of alien chants. Chloe, eager to contribute, found herself unexpectedly dragged forward by a nervous attendant clutching a ceremonial scroll. Before anyone could stop her, she was handed the ceremonial scepter, traditionally wielded by the officiant, and commanded to start the vows. Wait, I'm not, Chloe began, but the hall hushed. All eyes were on her. Swallowing her panic, she began reciting the words from the scroll. The crowd watched intently, some curious, others suspicious. Suddenly, as Chloe pronounced the phrase that would bind the empires together, a flash of light burst from the altar. The wormhole portal above the hall flickered wildly, crackling with unstable energy. Zix jumped forward. Something's wrong. That portal wasn't supposed to open now. The portal pulsed, then spat out bursts of swirling energy that sent the royal couple tumbling into an alternate dimension, one of shifting realities and impossible physics. The guests gasped. The wedding was spiraling into interdimensional chaos. In the midst of the turmoil, Trevor's gambling screen lit up. His bet was already fluctuating wildly as the Empire's fates seemed to teeter on cosmic whimsy. Meanwhile, the HR manager, now the accidental officiant, was trying desperately to regain control of the ceremony and the wormhole energy. Okay, everyone, remain calm. We're professionals here, she announced, attempting a diplomatic tone while secretly scrambling to find the protocol for wedding-induced wormhole disasters. Zix barked orders. Find the stabilizer nodes. Someone hack the energy matrix. The conspiracy theorist was already scanning the alien tech with a dubious grin. I knew this was a trap, or maybe a cosmic prank. The llama, unfazed, simply munched on a glowing flower from the alien gardens. As the team scrambled, the royal families realized the absurdity of their situation. Rival warriors found themselves trapped together in a dimension where physics bent and logic twisted. In this strange realm, the two empires' leaders were forced to cooperate or risk being stuck forever. Hours passed, tension turned into reluctant teamwork, and slowly the portal stabilized. Back in the hall, Chloe managed to improvise a new ritual, binding the Empire's peace with a mixture of human creativity and alien tradition. The portal closed, and the couple returned, somewhat dazed but now united by shared survival. Trevor's betting app chimed a massive payout, but he barely noticed. The victory felt surreal. Zix looked at the team, exhaustion written across his face. Well, that's one wedding no one will forget. Chloe grinned. Let's just hope the next party is a little less dimensionally complicated. As they departed Virelia Prime, the wormhole's shimmer faded behind them, leaving the Welcome Committee to reflect on another day of interstellar chaos disguised as diplomacy. After surviving wormhole weddings and interdimensional chaos, the Welcome Committee's latest summons was far less glamorous but infinitely more nerve-wracking. They were headed to Galactic Court, a towering structure of shimmering panels, endless corridors, and layers of bureaucratic red tape thicker than any asteroid belt. Earth's place in the Galactic Confederation was on the line. Rumors swirled through the cosmic grapevine. The Confederation Council was seriously considering revoking Earth's membership. The reason? The Welcome Committee's spectacular series of diplomatic disasters. The team shuffled nervously into the grand courtroom, where representatives from hundreds of alien civilizations waited. A jury of multi-eyed, multi-limbed beings listened with stone-cold expression. Zix stood before them, trying to radiate calm, despite the pounding in his chest. Esteemed counsel and honorable jurors, I stand before you not to deny the chaos, but to explain the spirit behind it. He waved a thick, hollow dossier toward the court's central console. This compilation represents Earth's efforts, imperfect, yes, but sincere. On the big screen, clips played. Chloe awkwardly officiating an alien wedding, Trevor accidentally inventing a war dance, the conspiracy theorist hugging spiky priests, and even the llama calmly eating a ceremonial flower. The courtroom murmured. Then, to everyone's surprise, the llama trotted forward, its expression oddly solemn. An official translator device was placed near it, and the llama's testimony began to play. A series of cheerful bleats and thoughtful hums that somehow conveyed a message about perseverance, friendship, and the unexpected joys of chaos. The jury, initially stone-faced, started chuckling, then laughing outright. Zix seized the moment. Humans may be unpredictable, but our quirks foster connection and resilience. We embrace the unknown, learn from mistakes, and keep trying. That's the essence of diplomacy. The jury's laughter softened to appreciative applause. One representative, a translucent jelly being with 3 voices, stood. Your llama's testimony is unique, but it reflects a truth we often forget in this galaxy. Perfection isn't the point. Genuine effort and goodwill are what bind us. A murmur of agreement rippled through the courtroom. Zix smiled, feeling hope for the first time since this trial began. So I ask you to judge us not by the chaos we create, but by the connections we build and the laughter we share. After tense moments, the jury's decision came. Earth's membership would be maintained, with a cautionary note to continue refining their interstellar etiquette. Relief washed over the team. As they left the courtroom, Chloe turned to Zix. So, we're not officially space embarrassing? Zix chuckled. We're officially human, and that's exactly what this galaxy needs. Trevor grinned, fist pumping the air. Best trial ever. Even the llama seemed to nod in agreement. Outside, the stars shimmered like a promise. Earth's Wild Welcome Committee was here to stay, ready for whatever cosmic chaos came next. With the Galactic Court's decision still echoing in their minds, the Welcome Committee returned to their ship, a strange mix of relief and disbelief swirling among them. Earth had officially been granted full diplomatic rights in the Galactic Confederation. Not just probationary membership, not just a warning, but the full cosmic handshake. The news spread fast across the galaxy, sparking celebrations both baffled and amused. Aliens from distant star systems sent messages praising Earth's unique contribution to interstellar diplomacy, which mostly meant they were entertained by the chaos, but hopeful for better days ahead. The Welcome Committee? They were promoted. Kind of. Chloe got an official HR Galactic badge. Trevor was named Chief Interstellar Gamer and Cultural Liaison. The conspiracy theorist received a datapad loaded with verified galactic secrets, and, in a surprise twist, the llama earned the honorary title of Cultural Ambassador of Calm. Captain Zix Nagger, for his part, was awarded the prestigious and slightly sarcastic title of Most Resilient Ambassador. The medal was a shiny disc featuring a smiling llama, which he pinned awkwardly on his chest. During the formal ceremony, Zix gave a short speech that summed up Earth's entry into galactic society. We may be unpredictable, quirky, and sometimes downright embarrassing, but we bring heart, humor, and hope to this universe. We don't always get it right, but we never stop trying. The crowd erupted into applause and laughter. As the festivities wound down, the Welcome Committee gathered around the ship's command console. Suddenly, a flashing alert popped up. A new mission from the Galactic Confederation. New species discovered, the message read. Earth assigned as official mentors. Chloe's eyes widened. Mentors? We're supposed to teach someone else now? Trevor laughed nervously. Great, because teaching dance diplomacy went so well. The conspiracy theorist peered at the screen, already plotting. I bet this species is another simulation experiment. Or worse, they might actually listen to us. Zix shook his head, a grin spreading across his face. Whatever happens next, we're ready. Earth didn't survive this long by playing it safe. The llama gave an approving bleat, as if saying, "Bring it on." The ship hummed to life, engines glowing with promise. Ahead lay new stars, new challenges, and a whole galaxy waiting for Earth's brand of chaotic charm. "Welcome to the galaxy," Zix said, voice steady with determination. "Now please behave, or at least try to." And with that, the Welcome Committee blasted off into the stars, ready for whatever absurd adventure the universe threw at them next.